Welcome to the College Football Bros. I am Michael Newman, and on today's episode, I'm going to preview the 2022 Texas Longhorns. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what your predicted record is for Texas next year. I will give my thoughts at the end of the episode on that. But before we get to this year's team, let's talk about, I guess, just Texas in general. Steve Sarkisian got off to a rough start last year, 5-7. I know it was year one, so you give them a little bit of a break, but they were not supposed to be that bad. So definitely a disappointment. I would normally say there's pressure heading into this season, heading into year two for Sark, but he's got Arch Manning committed for the 2023 class. He's off to a great start again to bring in his second consecutive really good recruiting class. So I think that means he's definitely safe. It would take something catastrophic for him to lose his job this year. But I will say, if there's a disappointing season again this year, then he enters 2023 certainly with a ton of pressure. But I don't anticipate that. I'm optimistic about what Steve Sarkisian is building there. But I will say I was optimistic about what Tom Herman was building in the beginning as well. So I guess you never know. But let's get to the team this year. Let's talk about 2022. So starting with the offense, it has the potential to be great. This is one of the best collections of skill talent in the country. You've got Bijan Robinson, arguably the nation's best running back. You have a really good receiving core led by Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, and a really good Wyoming transfer, Isaiah Nayor. I think he could have a big season. You also got Jaleel Billingsley coming in at tight end from Alabama. So at the very least, this offense will be good. There's just, I guess, two questions as to whether it will be elite. The first one is quarterback. Quinn Ewers, the former number one overall recruit, has amazing pedigree, but he's almost like a true freshman. He's very green, so your guess is as good as mine as far as how well he'll fare. I think he'll probably be pretty good because of how talented he is, but can he lead an elite offense? We'll see. This is all assuming he's the starter over Hudson Card, of course. Number two is offensive line. It wasn't very good last year. They're probably going to be playing a few freshmen this season, some very talented freshmen. They brought in an unbelievable class of offensive linemen, but still, that's not ideal. So that's the other question mark. We'll see how that works out. But again, at the very least, a pretty good offense. Moving on to the defense, this group was really bad last year, 86th in SP+. It'll almost certainly be significantly better than that in year two under Pete Kwiatkowski, a decent amount of production coming back. But I don't think it'll be good. I don't see enough changes to think that there is a massive leap coming. They only added 2 transfers, so they're going to need several guys to break out that were on the roster last season. And there's candidates to do that. Byron Murphy on the D-line, Jalen Ford at linebacker, Jahdae Barron in the nickel. They could all have breakout seasons. But I still worry about the same issues they had last year of defending the run and tackling, and those kind of go hand in hand, and rushing the passer. That still remains a major question. So I'll need to see that they're dramatically improved in those areas before I predict that massive improvement. So that's my thoughts on the offense and defense. Let's get to the schedule. I think 2-1 is very likely in the non-conference. I think you would be hard-pressed to find a Texas fan that would not predict 2-1. ULM is an easy win, of course. Alabama, probably a loss. And UTSA, probably a win. Neither of those are locks, though. I think the underdogs have a small chance in each game. I just cannot wait for that Alabama at Texas game in Austin. Atmosphere is going to be insane. You've got Quinn Ewers and an insanely talented offense going up against maybe the best defense in the country, so that test will be incredible. And even if Texas isn't able to come away with the victory, if they can just compete for 4 quarters, stay in the game, and have a shot at the end, that would, I think, give them a lot of confidence headed into conference play a couple weeks later. But let's get into conference. So it's very hard to identify which games will be the losses because the Big 12 is pretty balanced that just about every game is winnable or losable. But because of a questionable defense, like I talked about, and maybe some youth on the offensive line and at quarterback, I would not predict Texas to make the conference title. They've got a shot. They're one of the 3 or 4 favorites in my mind, but I would predict they finish 3rd in conference, maybe at 6-3. So I'll say one of those losses is to Oklahoma. I think Texas's offense might have a higher ceiling than Oklahoma's, but I just feel like I can trust the pairing of Dylan Gabriel and Jeff Lebby more than the unknown of Quinn Ewers. And I really like the group of transfers that Venables brought in defensively. So say OU gets the win there. I'll say Texas also loses at Oklahoma State. I think the Cowboys' edge rushers can give Texas's offensive line some trouble. And then at K-State, I say will be the third loss. Same issue in that game. And also, K-State should just overall have a really good defense. And on the other side of the ball, if Texas still has issues defending the run and tackling, Adrian Martinez and Deuce Vaughn could really take advantage there and have a big game. So 8-4, 6-3 in conference is my prediction. I think that's a successful season. I think that's a step in the right direction after a rough year one for Steve Sarkisian. I think you combine that with some great recruiting classes, and the fact that you'd have a freshman quarterback this year. 8-4 would not be a bad start for that. You'd have some young guys on the offensive line that would mature. So headed into 2023, you could have a realistic chance to make a playoff run. So for me, that wouldn't be too bad if I was a Texas fan. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, I want to see your record predictions. I know I typically assume that fans of elite programs that have been having struggles have kind of been humbled and don't necessarily have sky-high expectations. I say that because I'm a USC fan, and that has certainly happened to me. But then again, I look at some of my fellow Trojans calling for 10-2 or 11-1 season this year. So I guess you never know. Optimism is abound usually this time of year. So again, let me know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you like college football, and we'll see you next time.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.